Welcome to London and London Visited, and welcome to the City of London. Today we thought we'd continue our walks around London, but we're going to do one of 5 parts of the Queens Jubilee walk. Now this one starts here in the city and we're at Poultry, which is right by Bank, which you can see right behind me at the Bank Junction. So we'll give you a quick tour of that, and then we're going to walk a 2-mile loop which brings us back here to Bank as all part of the Queen's Jubilee walk, which was opened in 1977 and also reopened by the Queen on her Golden Jubilee in the year 2000. Now, when you go around London and you look on the parts, you will actually see some of these discs around, which signify some of the Jubilee walk. As I said, there's 5 of them, and together the whole thing can be done, but it is a 15-mile walk. So today it's this 2-mile loop of that 15 miles, and we will cover the other ones so you get to see London as well. So this is the Bank Junction, and in front of us you can see the Royal Exchange, and then you're looking off into the heart of the city. The noise you can hear behind me is, yes, building works going on. It must be London. Now, across the floor of London you'll see plates like this which signifies part of the Jubilee walkway. This is a gold one, and the reason it's a gold one is the Queen was here and she opened the Jubilee walkway here in 2002 officially. So that's why we are looking at the Gold Jubilee sign, and I'll show you the silver ones as we go through. And also, you know you're at the start of it because you have this plaque which is here signifying Bank Junction, even with its graffiti on it, marking the start of this loop of the walk. So, let's start our walk around the city. And looking the other way, we're looking down Queen Victoria Street, which will come back up later as part of it. And here, we're looking down Poultry, which then goes into Cheapside. Now, a lot of the buildings around here used to be head offices of the major banks here in the UK. A lot of those have now moved off into Canary Wharf. And this is a rather exclusive restaurant called the Ned. I think it's also, you can have a hotel here as well. Oh, and let's continue let's look at the plaques. Thomas Hood, born here on the 23rd of May 1799. This is all of the estate of one Poultry, all office blocks, but nice colouring. It's very quiet up here in London at the moment. We're going to continue walking down. There's, as you can see, shops around here. But it does make you wonder how long they will last for. Oh, here we go, this is interesting. So you've got an Ernest Jones, we're in the old jewellery, and I like these plaques here actually, these are quite nice. And this was the site of St Mary Coal Church, destroyed in the Great Fire of London in 1666. And we'll see today that a lot of this area was devastated in that fire. And some of the churches have been built a number of times around here, purely because they were firstly destroyed in 1666 and then of course bombed during World War II. There's a mighty impressive church up there in the front. And one thing they loved around here, you can see the clocks. You've got one hanging on the side of the building on the right in front of us, you've got one hanging off the church on the left. And this is just another empty building. This used to be a Barclays Bank. Okay, so we're on Cheapside, and we're now going to turn right. And this takes us up King Street. The bollards you can see in the road is they've actually stopped a lot of the traffic from coming down here, but they put the bollards in there to protect cyclists. Interesting, a lot of these places are to let. And they've also added an expansion here as well. So People can walk if it's busy down here. Do you know what? I can't ever imagine it being that busy down here ever again. Okay. So in front of us, we have the Guildhall. And we're going to have a closer look at that once we get past this scaffolding and go over the other side. And here we go, just to prove that's a Silver Jubilee walkway sign. So we're definitely en route. Now I love these. You can tell you're in the city because a lot of the bollards are marked with this distinctive topping. And also, just have a look at this light here. So, very nice and all that. But look, down here you have a crest. Excellent. And if you're wondering what that is sticking out on the right hand side, that's where this used to be a gas lamp, and the lighter would come up, put his ladder against that bit that's sticking out, that piece of metal that's sticking out, put his ladder up there, climb up, light the light, then climb back down again, take his ladder off. So it was used as a ladder rest. Okay, so we're now in the courtyard of the Guildhall. To tell you a bit about the Guildhall. So here we're looking at the Guildhall Art Gallery, and in here it's home to the City of London's art collection. It's from its origins in the 17th century, it's grown into one of the largest local authority collections, which specialises in works of interest to London and particularly strong in Victorian material. So we may have to go in there at some point and film. That will be good. Now, as we leave the courtyard, I spy another golden walkway sign. Right, good. We're heading the right way. So we're now going down Guildhall Buildings. Just to show you some of the architecture on the buildings here. Quite spectacular. Lots of, as you can see, lots of renovation. And I think they've done the renovation really well, because looking right down there, you wouldn't know that actually that was just a frontage hiding the scaffolding. So they've done that really well. But these buildings, beautiful. There we go, we've got a tablet here. Oh, this is interesting. This tablet recalls the amalgamation of the Mayor's Courtyard and the City of London Court on the 1st of January AD 1921. So, 101 years ago, pursuant to the Mayor's and the City of London Court Act AD 1920, which enacted that the newly constituted Mayor's and City of London Court should have the same exercise all powers and jurisdictions of both of the said courts. There we go. And, City of London Police Station. Better not hang around here too much. They might not like me down here filming. But let's just grab that. Fantastic. Right. That's Guildhall Buildings. There we go. More of the City of London bollards. It's just nice noticing these things and being able to bring them to you. Right. Now, interestingly enough, there's a City of London policewoman who's having a photo taken in the entrance to the Guildhall. If I zoom in, if you look at her hat, it's got the red markings around it. So just now we saw the back entrance into the Guildhall. This is what you would call the official front entrance. Let's just go and have a look at that coat of arms there. the City of London. There we go. Very ornate. And it's interesting, different points in the centre of London, as you come into the city, you'll see posts with those dragons on, signifying the start of the boundary of the City of London. Just bring you some of that architecture. I think that looks like Queen Elizabeth I up there. Statue on the left hand side. Have a look over here, because you've got a garden area. I bet was once a public garden. Actually, looks like there might be some history involved in that one. So with the city, you've got a mixture of the brand new standard chartered building mixed with the old Guildhall. And yes, this is an interesting one. This is Girders Hall. And just have a look at the balcony. I'm showing you the gold or the ornate on the balconies. But Girders Hall, which is what we're looking at now, I've got some more crests to show you, was first built on this site in 1431 and destroyed by the Great Fire of London in 1666, and again by enemy action in World War II in 1940. This stone was laid in 1960. It's the home of the Girdlers Company. Let's give you a wider view on it. There's a nice plaque on the wall. Oh, very nice view. Right, so that's the side. And here, right, so this is Girdlers Hall, bang in the City of London, and it was the home of the Girdlers Company, which is one of 109 livery companies of the City of London. The company was involved with girdle and belt making and received its letters patent from Edward III in 1327. The company no longer practices the craft, but it does present the girdle and stole worn by the sovereign at each coronation. So it still does get involved with each coronation. The distinctive hall is the third to occupy the site, and as we saw on the plaque there, from 1666 and also from World War II. And it's also noted for its well-kept gardens, which we saw around the back just now, but also, interestingly enough, even as we speak, we have people tending to the front garden. Now, There you have the building, sort of sandwiched within modern buildings. Now we're walking towards London Wall, which is so named from the Roman times, but we are going to do a video on that at another point. This is Armouries Hall. Let's just focus up there, keeping a watch over the front door. And I talked about Roman times. I'm guessing that those symbols have got Roman connotations, because you've got Roman helmets and shields, and there's a very ornate front door. And we're definitely on the right route, which is good. Right. And then we have an Armoury Brasseries. And their shield. Okay, so we're now on London Wall, because this is where the original Roman wall the Romans had went down. And we're going to cross over here. Part of today's walk is we're going to be looking around Barbican, and we should see some of the old Roman London Wall as well as we go round there by the Museum of London. So if you're following us on Google Maps, that is Moorgate through there, Moorgate Station. We're going to head down this way along London Wall. Off in the distance we can see the Museum of London, but we're heading towards that bridge which is going across London Wall. And now we're going to head up here and cross that bridge, which heads towards the Barbican complex, which we'll be going round soon as well. To give you a view, wow, Barbican is down that way. Well, it looks like we're going to be in for a bit of a historical treat. Right. Lots of construction going on around here, so the route may vary. So if you do this route, then your best bet, you can't find the stairs or it's blocked because of construction, just head down towards the Museum of London. I like this. Nice little walk around the world. There we go, it's some Alphage Highwalk. I like this as well. Greenery to hide, in essence, is electric cables behind there before windows appear. Okay. So after the glass, what you have there is the Barbican estate. Lots and lots of apartments and flats here in the centre of London. So, because we've got a high level view here, I want to show you something which is really historical, and it's just down there. And I think we'll get a better view as we head down to London Wall. We'll go over there in a second. This is all part of the original London Wall, the Roman wall that surrounded the City of London. This is Salter's Garden. I think we'll get an even better view in a second. So let's keep going down. I like this network of walkways. And as you can see here, there you go, we're on the right walkway, which is good. Oh, that's handy. So there's lifts where I came up earlier, there's lifts to come down here as well. So the good news is it is easily accessible to all. Let's head down towards the Museum of London. We're doing it with a view on the High Walk. Wow. This looks like it's either a church or one of the gates used in Roman times. Still standing. And on the other side, you have part of the London Wall. Which is in the Barbican complex. So if you're coming up here, and there is a plaque on there, and that plaque in the middle says Old Roman City Wall. Now I'm guessing we'll have to have a look, that this dates back to when the Romans were here, which could be put up any time. Well, we know they put a bridge across the Thames in AD 55. I believe they were here till about AD 400. Even so, that is a very old piece of wall. And that is amazing history. And the great thing about London is you've got this piece of history which is still standing here, looking amazing. And then you have sculptures like this, just on the other side. So you really do get variety here in London. Let's just film that for a second, because it seems to be changing colour all the time. There we go, from oranges to multicoloured. Really do get a bit of everything. And once again, if you're coming up here and you want to get these views, it's an Alphage Highwalk. Now, St Giles Cripplegate is one of the gates that they had here in London. There's a number of gates that the Romans had as an entrance into London, and they were the main roads out of London all over the UK, straight main roads. And we will have a look at that another time. But let's continue our Jubilee walk and head down to the Museum of London. So I know the City of London quite well, but this part, which is of course sort of bang in the city with sort of the Barbican area, etc., not quite so familiar with. So let's head down this way, because this will take us to the Museum of London. And also head towards the Barbican as well. Right. Now, as we come through here, I can see more bits of wall. Areas which are left behind. So you have that over here, and on the other side, yeah, they are all part of the city wall. Now, interestingly enough, it's well and truly scratched and weathered, but what it does say is that fort that we're looking at here was built in this area between the year 100 and 120 under the turrets. So it gives you an idea. Oh, and interestingly enough, let's just zoom down in on that area. You can see steps taking them up to the top of the turret, which is no longer there. Obviously all exposed. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to come down here and do a separate video. And then over on this side of the walkway, you can see more of London Wall, and there is more bits of wall over there as well. Okay. As you can tell, it's quite windy up here. But what we're going to do is we're not going to go into the Museum of London because the walk goes around it. But we're going to come down. The Museum of London is quite large because it occupies, by the looks of it, part of the building over there, but also over here as well. There we go, just in case you didn't catch what the City of London sign looked like earlier. There we have it. I would guess, looks of it, the Museum of London could be quite popular with school parties. So this is the Museum of London here. And that's got to be another video to do in the future. There we are. And a piece of art. And this is called Union, Horse with Two Discs, which was made in 2001. There we go. By Christopher Lebron, and it's in bronze, and he did that when he was studying at the Slade School of Art at Chelsea College. One of the things we showed you as I walked across was the Museum of London. Well, I decided to stop and have a nice cup of coffee and a flapjack. So if you're doing this walk with family, then you've got a great place you can stop, come and have a coffee and come and have a bit of a break. Also, if you're thinking about it, you can book to come to the Museum of London. Now, the Museum of London itself apparently has over 1 million objects all related to London. And one of the highlights is a 1757 London Mayor's coach, which was built in that year. So definitely a place to come, definitely a place that we're going to have to come and visit as a separate video later on London Visited. So if you're coming here, come and enjoy the coffee. The flapjack's amazing. Okay, let's continue our walk. So we're up high at the moment. We're going to go round and go down. Always great to find these little places. There you go. Just a complete sign of where we've been. Museum of London. That was nice coffee in there. So highly recommend that. So what you want to do is you don't want to take this one, you're going to take the next one as you go round. We're going now down towards St Paul's. Right, so let me just give you some history. So you can see the block towers here of Barbican. So apparently Barbican was built on the bomb-devastated site of a medieval community, and it was later overcrowded residential area, and it takes its name from the medieval fortifications that were once there. It's the largest performing arts centre in Europe, and it's right in the heart of the Barbican estate. Now, what's really interesting is the complex is very controversial, always has been, because of the multi-level. So you've seen some of the stuff, but now if you look at some of the skyscrapers that you've got there, and it's officially opened in 1969, and it's now home to 4,000 people living in 2,014 flats. It's got lots of outdoor areas, including water features. It's got lots and lots of stuff, and it's right here in the centre of London. But it's always been very controversial due to its sort of architecture. Love it or hate it, it's there, and that's what it looks like. That's the Barbican. Right, let's go over these walkways. Do you know what? I do like these walkways. Just give you a sort of a nice sort of sense of feeling. There we go. It's into the Museum of London. So you can get to the Museum of London if you're thinking of coming up here quite easily. You've got Farringdon Tube Station, you've also got Barbican Tube Station, but also you've got St Paul's as well, which is on the Central Line, which is nice and easy. That cat has a significance to do with Dick Whittington, the once Mayor of London. Okay, we're going down to street level. There we go. And there is Dick Whittington himself, and on their way to the Museum of London. Okay. Right. I'll just give you an idea. We were up there. Now we're down here. Also, if you want to do that and you don't want to do the stairs, then you have got escalators on the other side of the bridge, and then you have to walk down and round. Okay, so we're now walking down Aldersgate Street. Here, it's interesting, Guild and Ward Church of St Boltaf without Aldersgate. A church building has stood here for nearly 1,000 years. This one dates back to 1788, 1791. More important than age or beauty of the building, however, is that Jesus Christ and the message of his death and resurrection were proclaimed here throughout the week. So what we might do is, without getting run over, just cross over the road and give you a view. Ooh. There you go. That's what it looks like. It's nice. Time's wrong, well and truly, but anyway. Okay. So we're in Aldersgate Street, and that turns into St Martin's at Le Grand. Just here, it's a very short street. Once we get over the road, we'll walk down there again. If you saw our walk, which was from Covent Garden to Bond Street, when we got to Piccadilly, you will remember that we saw one of those. Police box. So once again, that one's still not working, but it was there for once upon a time. Right, let's... Also, I'll tell you what I have noticed. Next to the garden, so you've got an older water fountain. Now that will date back. Let's see if there's a year on it. Yes, there is. The year, if you can make that out, 1870. So this fountain was in operation from 1870. Next to the church. And like that, you've got the animals bowls down the end there. Obviously not working now. But you've also got the garden right at the side. Oh, Postman's Park. Now, this garden was opened in 1880 and made up of churchyards of St Leonard's, Foster Lane and St Botolph, Aldersgate and the graveyard of Christ Church, Newgate Street. It's home to the Watts Memorial, built in 1900 as a tribute to the heroic men and women. Now, Postman's Park, let's just go in here. There we go. So we've got some of the tombstones just over the back there. By the way, this isn't on the official walk, but you walk past it, so let's make sure you get full value. It's nice, you've got your fountain there. Oh, you see those fish down there? And there we go. That's good, nice clean water. That's the side of the church. We've got a tomb there, but can't quite work out whose it is. Because it's so old, the writing has gone on that. Let's just have a look around the garden. So you've got various tombs laid out and around. And these benches are very new, which is nice. So, once again, another park in the centre of London that you just walk past because you don't really notice it. But can you imagine in the summer? This will be a wonderful place to come and sit, especially if you're working nearby, and also if you're visiting St Paul's Cathedral and want a place that's not in the churchyard of St Paul's Cathedral to have your lunch. This would be a great place to come. Oh, and imagine that looks beautiful in the summer as well, with the flowers, with another fountain in the middle. Once upon a time it had a fountain. That's now gone. And you can tell how sheltered it is here because you've got more palm trees. And then over here, right, in commemoration of the heroic self-sacrifice, 1899. Ah. Right. So you've got lots of these plaques in tiles where people have basically self-sacrifice. Firemen, God, whose horses were unmanageable were able to break in through the carriage pole. Wow. It's almost a story in every single plaque here. To save a neighbour's children and perished in the flames. 1873. Edward Morris, aged 10, bathing in the Grand Junction Canal, sacrificed his life to help his sinking companion. God. Edward Blake drowned while skating at the Welsh Harp Waters, Hendon, in an attempt to rescue two unknown girls. I think you've got to agree, come down here, there's a story in every single plaque. Amazing. Here comes with drowned in West End, saving the life of a stranger and a foreigner. This is beautifully done. But what a great way of tribute. Let's have a couple more. As you can see, there's a lot on the wall here. Oh, God. Lost his life on Rodney Road, Walworth, while trying to save his little brother from being run over. And that was in July 1886. Just to give you a view of how many are up here. This is incredible. Well worth a visit. So this is down by the Museum of London. And here we go. This is an overview. To this memorial from 1900. Incredible. So if you get a chance to get down here, it's called the Postmans Park, and it's right where you've got Aldersgate Street finishes, and it starts St Martin's Le Grand. And if you really want to know where it is, it's right near St Paul's Cathedral. So get down here. There's stories on every single plaque. Amazing. Right, let's continue our walk. Just as a reminder, we're doing the Queens Silver Jubilee walk. We're doing the City Loop. Here we go. And as a reminder, there's a plaque. So you see these plaques on the floor all over London. That's why they're there. They're part of a 15-mile walk in total, but you can break it down into 5 separate parts. So we're doing the City Walk. There's also a West London and East London. What else? There's a West End. So there's 5 different ones. So we will cover those off during the course of the year and put them on here so you can see them. And they take in all of the great places around London, whether you agree with them or not. There we go. Also, we'll pick up the plaques as well. Site of Bull and Mouth Inn, demolished in 1888. Must have some significant history to have a plaque up there. I do like the corporation plaques though. They're very ornate. What do you think? Do you like those ones or do you like the round ones? I know it's a matter of taste. Let us know in the comments down below. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you're enjoying our walk around the City of London, there we go, love that. City of London, Bollard. If you're enjoying our walk around the City of London, then please hit that thumbs up button so we can get London out to more people on YouTube so they can love London as well. Now, you're thinking, what are you walking towards? Right, see that building that's sort of coming up towards us in the middle of the picture? Well, behind that, literally behind that, is St Paul's Cathedral, which is going to be our next stop. And look around, here we go, there comes the dome into view, just behind the building on the right here. Wow. Now this is another place we want to go to. Yes, hello, thank you. I don't think they're tooting at me, not in the middle of the road. Now this is another place we want to come to and get up there. We're going to work that one out. Because you're allowed to take photos, but you can't take video. So we'll have to see what goes on with that one. And it's only open specific days as well. Right. This is St Paul's Station, underground station on the Central Line. Good news about this walk is there's lots of different places you can stop, have a coffee, have a sit down. There we go. There's a co-op there, so if you want to get some stuff you can do. Right, so we're going to go through Paternoster Row, which brings you into Paternoster Square. So you've got different shops down here. Whoa. Now, thankfully you can't, well, unfortunately you can't smell it, but there's a beautiful smell of food coming down here from one of the restaurants. Sort of spices. So, come on YouTube, you've got to do your scratch and sniff videos at some point to really get it. It's Queen's Head Passage. And how about that for a view at the side of St Paul's? Anyway, we'll have a good look at St Paul's in a second. There's always different artwork here. I've been here to Paternoster Square a few times. They've always got different things that are going on. So, looks like a man's lost with his sheep in front of us. There we go, gently herding. This is quite a nice place to come if you just want to come and sit down, get some food. I've got Sainsbury's local as well, so there you go, and a Pret. So, great place. Now, Paternoster Square, also if you're in the UK, if you watch the programme First Dates, this is where they filmed all of the first dates. And it's actually just behind those hoardings there, which is why they're now doing it in Manchester. So there you go, that's if you're in the UK and you watch First Dates. The restaurant they use is literally behind those hoardings. Now, what have we got here? This looks like another monument to the Fire of London, because the flames on top look very similar to that on the monument down by Monument Station. Let's see if there's something here, because we know the Great Fire of London came here because it destroyed St Paul's Cathedral. No, there's no plaque or anything. What we'll do is we'll have a look and we'll put that in the we'll put that on the screen down below, what it represents, but it's got to be the Great Fire of London. Okay, so as we go through Paternoster Square, this stone archway is a Temple Bar, and we're now coming into, as we go through here, St Paul's Cathedral Churchyard, or St Paul's Churchyard. Oh, another blue plaque. Near this site, the Grand Lodge of the English Freemasons first met in 1717. Interestingly, the Grand Hall of the Freemasons, which we walk past quite a bit to get to Covent Garden, is now just off Holborn. So, that moved. Right, let's now go and have a walk around and have a look. Oh, different art as we go through.
The only thing I've got written down is
these are recently commissioned art from 2003, which is commissioned by Standard Life Investments, done by Emily Young, and they're different angels. That one's angel number 4. They're all from 2003. That's an entrance to a place. I'll just show you, there you go. Just in case you don't believe what's at the top of the pillars there. There you go, that's angel 3, etc. Right, so we're in St Paul's Churchyard, and now, there we go, there's the bollards. And now you get a great view of St Paul's Cathedral from the front. got the front of St Paul's Cathedral, and then just by the right tower in front of us with the clock, just behind that to its left, you've got the cross from the top of the dome at St Paul's. Let's go around the side and you'll see the classic St Paul's Cathedral. And interestingly enough, you're looking at the old with the brand new, because over in the distance is the Sky Garden. Now, as we walk round here, yeah, there we go. Dome's coming into view. Now you really are getting St Paul's Cathedral as the way it's seen. Fantastic. Nice little walk, this. And once again, then you've got the view of the city. Now, as we walk through here, the walk continues this way to St Paul's Cathedral. You walk past the City of London Tourist Information Office, which is here on our right, where you can get lots of different coloured ducks. But we're going to continue walking down.
Yeah, you know what he's done though? Someone sent a message to me, he's lost his phone.
That's lovely. Came up here in spring last year and took some beautiful photos of those cherry trees that are sitting there with the cherry blossom on. I'll put a link up in the top right hand corner for you on there. The beautiful St Paul's Cathedral. Now, the walk then goes from there and heads down this way a little bit. And the reason it heads down this way is you get a great view going across London, going across the Thames and to the Tate Gallery across the Millennium Bridge. Right, so now we're going to go down St Peter's Hill, which is great because it's stepped, but also you've got a nice ramp that goes down. It takes you down through here, all part of the Jubilee Walkway, to Queen Victoria Street. Sound familiar? Yes. That's where we started, in Queen Victoria Street, but just further along. So we're going to walk that. Right, so as you walk down here, just note the centre page, which is there. Apparently beforehand it was formerly the Horn Tavern, which the earliest recorded in 1663, which then makes you wonder if it was also wiped out by the Great Fire of London, because of course St Paul's Cathedral was. So let's continue down. Sometimes in the summer down here they put some exhibitions on and different bits of art, so you can come and have a walk down there. Yeah, this whole area was destroyed during the Great Fire of London, and the reason we know that is we have another blue plaque, and it was the site of the Upholders Hall, destroyed in the Great Fire of London of 1666. So this whole area was wiped out, including of course St Paul's Cathedral. And the version that we've seen of St Paul's Cathedral, which we've seen today, which I think was his third building, was of course done by Sir Christopher Wren, who was involved with John Nash in a lot of building of London. Right. Great thing is, if you stand in the middle, you can see the bollards there, and you get a great view down over the Millennium Bridge to the South Bank and the Tate Modern. And I'll put our video to the Millennium Bridge and the views from that up in the top right hand corner for you. Okay, the walk continues this way, because that's why we're here, that's what we're doing. We're doing the Queen's Jubilee Walk City Tour. We're going at Queen Victoria Street. That is now the Salvation Army's international headquarters. There on the corner. Now, if you're thinking of doing this and you want to do it with a bit of speed, you won't take everything in, but an option, of course, is to hire one of these bikes. And they're very reasonable. You can sign up online and you can hire a bike for up to 30 minutes per time in a day for £2 for the day. So you can hire the bike as many times as you like for just £2 for the day, providing you put it back within 30 minutes within another station. And the good news is there are stations all over London. And I must admit, I use those bikes quite often myself to get around London and go and see different things. But you probably won't want to do it on a walk like this because you will miss a whole load of stuff. Right here, this is the St Nicholas Cole Abbey Centre, and on the side of it, the ward of Bridge Street. Amazing! I love coming to London. The things you find, the plaques. Again, the great thing is it's old meeting new. And coming up on our left side, we have another preschool box. I wonder how long these things are going to survive for. That's the second one on our tour today. That's interesting. A little garden over there, which is Cleary Gardens, or Clary Gardens, even, just behind. Ah, and there's Bridge Street. So it's the ward of Bridge Street, and this little bit of road is Bridge Street. A lot of these buildings have been put up very, very recently. Now we're coming to where we meet Cannon Street and Mansion House. Mansion House tube station down that way, down through and under. Cannon Street down there, down that way, takes down to Cannon Street. We have featured Cannon Street once before on one of our videos. They have what's called the London Stone down there. That tower you can see off there is part of St Paul's Cathedral. But the London Stone I was telling you about goes back to Roman times, they think. I'll put a link to that up in the top right hand corner for you so you can see that. And that's a piece of history that millions of people walk past and don't even realise it's there. Seems to be a good way to get around London on a little skateboard. One of the questions I get so many times, how busy is London? Is it busy? No. So we are in the middle of lunchtime. You can see these people just queuing here, but the reason these people are queuing here for this cafe is because it's a salad kitchen. And look how small it is inside. That's why they're queuing. But this is the street. So they're really, it's not that busy in London. And I know we're in the city, but 12:30, lunchtime, you'd expect it to be absolutely heaving. In fact, once upon a time it would have done. Now, we're on Queen Victoria Street, and we're now heading up towards Bank and back to Poultry, where the walk started. So, the walk in its entirety is about 2 miles. It's not strenuous at all. It's all accessible. Even the walkways over at Barbican. Really impressed with that you can get the elevators up to there. So if you're in a chair or anything else that you need to be able to, and you can't manage stairs, then you can get up and do that, which is good. So it's an accessible walk, 2 miles. So I've done it at a fairly slow pace. I suppose I could probably do this in about 35-40 minutes if I really wanted to. But again, you really wouldn't take in much of the things that are around you. So definitely do it. Take your time to do it and enjoy it. It's amazing what you discover when you do these things. In fact, saying that, we're back at One Poultry and I've just discovered a church over there with a Starbucks by the side of it, which, through the gap, I hadn't even seen before. So I might have to go and have a look at that very soon. Another way you can do it, of course, you can have a run round. Again, you wouldn't take much in, but you certainly get around it quite quick. And we're back. You can see the board coming up where we started. There we go. There's the plaque. And that's a full circle. And there is the City of London Magistrates Court right over the road. If you fancy a quick look around, let's give you a quick tour of Bank itself as we're here. And we're coming right into the centre of Bank. Now over on the right hand side with the flag flying, that is the Bank of England, hence why it's called Bank. This building here in front of us was created by John Gresham, and it was the original stock exchange here in London. It is known as the Royal Exchange, from 1282 to 1737. Look at that. That's a big light. And that just gives you a view across London from Bank. I hope you've enjoyed our tour around London. Our first of our loop walks on the Queen Elizabeth Jubilee walks, which were started in 1977 and then also reopened in 2002 around London, and that was the City of London, taking in various places. Now if you enjoyed that, I'm going to put a playlist for you of some of the other walks and we've done around London, so you can take in, well, not just the views, but also it might give you some ideas if you're coming to London for some things that you can come and see, some walks that you can do with yourself and your family as well, because there's nothing like getting out and doing that. So I'm going to put that over there for you as well. And the other bit is, if you've not subscribed to our channel, please do, because we're going to have so many more walks for you and other places in London, and we've got a great back catalogue of videos that you can watch for different places in London. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.